In this lesson of the Chemistry, Manufacturing and Controls module, we will discuss drug master files in USA, Canada and EU. As you will notice, the term drug master files is mostly used in USA. Canada also uses the same term, although a recent guidance document used master files. European Union does not use the term drug master files anymore. Lesson objectives. After this lesson you will be able to describe the types of master files in USA. Describe the review and update of master files in USA, Canada and EU. Be able to explain the appointment and role of the agents for master files. Describe the similarities between Canadian and USA drugs master files. Learn the sections of excipient master files. Learn the sections of drug product and drug substance master files. Describe the role of active substance manufacturer. Describe how the certificate of suitability of the pharmacopoeia monograph is obtained. Discuss the importance of the letters of access of master files. DMFs vary with regulatory agencies. In this lesson we will discuss DMFs or related documents in USA, Canada and Europe.
In this section I will describe some common abbreviations, explain a few terminologies, types of drug master files, letters of authorization, examination and review of drug master files, making changes to a drug master file, annual updates, appointment of an agent and transfer of drug master files ownership. In this section I will describe a few terminologies and abbreviations associated with the drug master files. Abbreviations. ANDA represents Abbreviated New Drug Application. BL represents Biologics Drug Application. DMF represents Drug Master Files. ECTD represents Electronic Common Technical Document. FDA represents Food and Drugs Administration. IND represents Investigational New Drug. NDA represents New Drug Application. Letter of authorization is a written statement by the holder or designated agent or representative permitting FDA to refer to information in the DMF in support of another person's submission. Person. This includes individual, partnership, corporation, and association. Sponsor. The term sponsor refers to a person who takes responsibility for and initiates a clinical investigation. The sponsor may be an individual or pharmaceutical company, governmental agency, academic institution, private organization, or other organization. A drug master file is a submission to the Food and Drug Administration that may be used to provide confidential detailed information about facilities, processes or articles used in the manufacturing, processing, packaging, and storing of one or more human drugs. Third parties and DMF holders. DMFs are generally created to allow a party other than the holder of the DMF to reference material without disclosing to that party the contents of the file. When an applicant references its own material, the applicant should reference the information contained in its own IND, NDA, or ANDA directly rather than establishing a new DMF. New Drug Master Files in Electronic Common Technical Document. Beginning on May 5, 2018, new drug master files and all documents submitted to existing new drug master files must be submitted using the Electronic Common Technical Document. New drug master file submissions that are not submitted in ECTD format after this date will be rejected. A drug master file is never approved or disapproved. Technical contents of a drug master files are reviewed only in connection with the review of an IND, NDA, ANDA, or an export application. Types of drug master files. The following are the 5 types of DMFs. Type I DMF is about manufacturing site, facilities, operating procedures, and personnel. Type 2 DMF is about drug substance intermediate, and material used in their preparation, or drug product preparation. Type 3 DMF is about packaging material. Type IV DMF is about excipient, colorant, flavor, essence, or material used in their preparation. Type V DMF is about FDA-accepted reference information. Type 1 IDMF for persons outside USA. A Type I drug master file is recommended for a person outside of the United States to assist FDA in conducting on-site inspections of their manufacturing facilities. The Type 1 drug master file should describe the manufacturing site, equipment capabilities, and operational layout. A Type 1 drug master file is normally not needed to describe domestic facilities, except in special cases, such as when a person is not registered and not routinely inspected. Type 1 DMF and site descriptions. The description of the site should include acreage, actual site address, and a map showing its location with respect to the nearest city. An aerial photograph and a diagram of the site may be helpful. A diagram of major production and processing areas is helpful for understanding the operational layout. Major equipment should be described in terms of capabilities, application, and location. Make and model would not normally be needed unless the equipment is new or unique. A diagram of major corporate organizational elements, with key manufacturing, quality control, and quality assurance positions highlighted, at both the manufacturing site and corporate headquarters, is also helpful. Type 2 DMF. This Type I drug master file is about drug substance intermediate, and material used in their preparation, or drug product. A Type 2 drug master file should, in general, be limited to a single drug intermediate, drug substance, drug product, or type of material used in their preparation. Summarize all significant steps in the manufacturing and controls of the drug intermediate or substance. Type 2 DMF and finished dosage forms. Manufacturing procedures and controls for finished dosage forms should ordinarily be submitted in an IND, NDA, AMDA, or export application. If this information cannot be submitted in an IND, NDA, AMDA, or export application, it should be submitted in a DMF. Type 2 DMF and finished dosage forms. When a Type 2 DMF is submitted for a drug product, the applicant or sponsor should follow the help provided in the guidelines. Type 3. Packaging material. Each packaging material should be identified by the intended use, components, composition, and controls for its release. The names of the suppliers or fabricators of the components used in preparing the packaging material and the acceptance specifications should also be given. Type 3. Packaging material. Data supporting the acceptability of the packaging material for its intended use should also be submitted as outlined in the guideline. Toxicological data on these materials would be included under this type of DMF, if not otherwise available by cross-reference to another document. It is not required that packaging information be submitted to the FDA in a DMF. The responsibility for providing information about packaging components rests with the applicant of an NDA, AMDA or BLA, or the sponsor of an IND. This information may be provided to the applicant by the manufacturer of a packaging component or material of construction and may be included directly in the application. If there is information that a manufacturer of packaging material does not wish to share with the applicant or sponsor because it is considered proprietary, then it may be placed in a Type 3 DMF and incorporated into the application by a letter from the manufacturer to the applicant which authorizes reference to the DMF. This DMF is about excipient, colorant, flavor, essence, or material used in their preparation. Each additive should be identified and characterized by its method of manufacture, release specifications, and testing methods. Toxicological data on these materials would be included under this type of DMF, if not available by cross-reference to another document. DMF Type 4. Usually, the official compendia and FDA regulations for color additives, direct food additives, indirect food additives, and food substances may be used as sources for release tests, specifications, and safety. As chemistry, manufacturing and controls for compendial excipients is generally not reviewed, Drug Master File for compendial excipients generally not reviewed. Guidelines suggested for a Type 2 Drug Master Files may be helpful for preparing Type 4 Drug Master Files. The Drug Master File should include any other supporting information and data that are not available by cross-reference to another document. DMF Type 5. FDA accepted reference information. FDA discourages the use of Type 5 drug master files for miscellaneous information, duplicate information, or information that should be included in one of the other types of drug master files. If any holder wishes to submit information and supporting data in the drug master files that is not covered by Types 1 through 4, a holder must first submit a letter of intent to the drug master file staff. FDA will then contact the holder to discuss the proposed submission. Environmental assessment. Type 2, Type 3, and Type 4 drug master files should contain a commitment by the firm that its facilities will be operated in compliance with applicable environmental laws. Stability. Stability study design, data, interpretation, and other information should be submitted, when applicable. Authorization to refer to a drug master file. Before FDA can review drug master files information in support of an application, the drug master files holder must submit in duplicate to the drug master files a letter of authorization permitting FDA to reference the drug master files. The holder does not need to send the transmittal letter with its letter of authorization. The letter of authorization should include the date, name of drug master files holder, drug master file number, name of persons authorized to incorporate information in the drug master files by reference, specific products covered by the drug master files, submission date.
This is a continuation of the previous slide.
The letter of authorization should include section numbers and/or page numbers to be referenced, statement of commitment that the DMF is current and that the DMF holder will comply with the statements made in it, signature of authorizing official, type, name, and title of official authorizing reference to the DMF. Examination of DMF. An original DMF submission will be examined on receipt to determine whether it meets minimum requirements for format and content. If the submission is administratively acceptable, FDA will acknowledge its receipt and assign it a DMF number. If the submission is administratively incomplete or inadequate, it will be returned to the submitter with a letter of explanation from the drug master file staff, and it will not be assigned the DMF number. Drug master file review. The FDA will review information in a DMF only when an IMD sponsor, an applicant for an NDA, AMDA, or export application, or another DMF holder incorporates material in the DMF by reference. The incorporation by reference must be accompanied by a copy of the DMF holder's letter of authorization.
This is a continuation of the previous slide.
If FDA reviewers find deficiencies in the information provided in a DMF, a letter describing the deficiencies is sent to the DMF holder. At the same time, FDA will notify the person who relies on the information in the deficient DMF that additional information is needed in the supporting DMF. The general subject of the deficiency is identified, but details of the deficiency are disclosed only to the DMF holder.
This is a continuation of the previous slide.
When the DMF holder submits the requested information to the DMF in response to the agency's deficiency letter, the holder should also send a copy of the accompanying transmittal letter to the affected persons relying on the DMF and to the FDA reviewing division that identified the deficiencies. The transmittal letter will provide notice that the deficiencies have been addressed. DMF holder obligations. Any change or addition, including a change in authorization related to specific customers, should be submitted in duplicate and adequately cross-reference the previous submissions. Notice required for changes to a drug master file. A DMF holder must notify each affected applicant or sponsor who has referenced its DMF of any pertinent change in the DMF. Notice should be provided well before making the change in order to permit the sponsor or applicant to supplement or amend any affected applications as needed. Persons authorized to incorporate information in DMF. A DMF is required to contain a complete list of persons authorized to incorporate information in the DMF by reference. The holder should update the list in the annual update. The updated list should contain the holder's name, DMF number, and the date of the update. The update should identify by name or code the information that each person is authorized to incorporate and give the location of that information by date, volume, and page number. Annual update. The DMF holder should provide an annual report on the anniversary date of the original submission. Failure to update or to assure FDA annually that previously submitted material and lists in the DMF remain current can cause delays in FDA review of a pending IND, NDA, ANDA, export application, or any amendment or supplement to such application, and FDA can initiate procedures for closure of the DMF. Appointment of an agent. When an agent is appointed, the holder should submit a signed letter of appointment to the DMF giving the agent's name, address, and scope of responsibility. Domestic DMF holders do not need to appoint an agent or representative, although foreign DMF holders are encouraged to engage a U.S. agent. Transfer of ownership. To transfer ownership of a DMF to another party, the holder should notify FDA and authorized persons in writing. The new holder should submit a letter of acceptance of the transfer and an update of the information contained in the DMF, where appropriate. Any change relating to the new ownership should be included.
In this section we will discuss about drug master files in Canada. The term DMF has been used for a long time, but according to a document titled Master Files, Procedures and Administrative Requirements released in 2016, the term Drug Master File was replaced by Master Files. We have used both terms in these slides. We will describe some abbreviations, classification of master files, sections of master files for types 1, 2, 3 and 4, confidentiality of master files, registration and changes of master files, official languages, assessment of master files updates for drug submissions and clinical trials, and appointment of master file agent. Abbreviations. ANDS represents abbreviated new drug submission. ASMFS represents active substance master files. API represents active pharmaceutical ingredients. CTA represents clinical trial application. CTAA represents clinical trial application amendment. CTAN represents clinical trial application notification. NDS represents new drug submission. NOC represents notice of compliance. MF represents master file. QoS represents quality overall summary. Classification of master files. Type 1, active substance master files. Type 2, container closure system master files. Type 3, excipient master files. Type 4, dosage form master files. Type 1, active substance master files. This is master file for pharmaceuticals, drug substance or intermediates in the manufacture of a drug substance. This can include active pharmaceutical ingredients. For biologics drug substances, they include bulk process intermediates, vaccine antigens, excipients of biological origin except for gelatin, adjuvants except for alum, albumin, critical raw materials for radiopharmaceuticals or vectors for gene therapy. This screenshot shows protected applicants part and restricted part of Type 1 master file for drug substance. The following are provided in the restricted part. These are cover letter, life cycle management table, copy of Health Canada issued correspondence, Health Canada solicited information, general note to reviewer, table of contents, application forms, fee forms, certification and attestation forms.
This is a continuation of the previous slide.
Establishment licensing, good manufacturing practices, authorization for sharing information, internal information, certified product information document. Unlike what we had in the previous two slides, quality overall summary, description of manufacturing process and process control, controls of critical steps and intermediates and impurities are in both applicants' part and restricted part of the master files. The nomenclature, structure, general properties, name of manufacturers, elucidation of structure and other characteristics are only in the applicant's part. On the other hand, only process validation and evaluation as well as manufacturing process development appear only in the restricted part. This screenshot shows that the following sections occur only in the applicant's part of the master files, namely, specifications of the drug substance, analytical procedures, validation of the analytical procedures, batch analyses, reference standards or materials, container closure system, stability summary and conclusions, post-approval stability protocol and stability commitment and stability data. Justification of specifications occur in both applicant's part and restricted part. On the other hand, facilities and equipment as well as adventitious agent safety evaluation occur only in the restricted part of the master file. Type 1 active substance master files and Type 4 dosage form master files. They are divided in two parts. The restricted part and the applicant's part, which is provided to the applicant and is usually included as part of the applicant's drug submission or clinical trial application, with the accompanying letter of access. DMF Type 1. For Type 1 active substance master files, the applicant's part contains the information that the active substance master file holder regards as non-confidential to the applicant, whereas the restricted part contains the information that the active substance master file holder regards as confidential. A master file will not be considered complete if both parts have not been provided to Health Canada. DMF Type 1 active substance master files. The letter of access is signed by the master file holder. Letter of access grants Health Canada permission to assess the information provided in the master file during the assessment of the applicant's drug submission or clinical trial application. The restricted parts are filed by the master file holder to Health Canada directly. And master file is submitted by the master file holder only in cases where the company does not wish to disclose confidential business information to the applicant of the drug submission or clinical trial application. DMF Type 2 consists of container closure systems components. This screenshot shows a section from Health Canada guidance document titled Description of Master File Type 2 Container Closure Systems and Components. There are two options for organizing the master file. This screenshot is for option 1. In Module 1 abbreviated M1, we have the following folders and files. The correspondence folder contains cover letter, copy of Health Canada issued correspondence, Health Canada solicited information and general note to reviewer, and the table of contents. The administrative information folder contains application form, fee forms, certification and attestation forms, compliance and site information, authorization for sharing information and international information. The product information folder contains certified product information document. In Module 3 there are three main subfolders which are Table of Content for paper submission, Body of Data and Container Closure System, with three subfolders for Component X, Component Y and Component Z in 3.2. P.7. This screenshot shows a section from Health Canada guidance document titled Description of Master File Type 2 Container Closure Systems and Components. There are two options for organizing the master file. This screenshot is for option 2. In Module 3 we have the following subfolders, namely Table of Content for paper submission, Body of Data, Drug Product, Description and Composition of the Drug Product, Manufacturer, Description of Manufacturing Process and Process Controls, Process Validation and or Evaluation, Control of Drug Product, Specifications, Analytical Procedures and Container Closure System, with three separate folders of 3.2. P.7 for Component X, Component Y and Component Z. Subfolders can be added as required and common information included in other folders. DMF Type 3 Excipient Master Files. This type of DMF is for excipients, capsule shells, coating ingredients, colorants, flavors, and other additives, including alum and growth media. This screenshot shows a section from Health Canada guidance document titled Description of Master File Type 3 Excipients. In Module 1 abbreviated M1, we have the following folders and files. The correspondence folder contains cover letter, copy of Health Canada issued correspondence, Health Canada solicited information and general note to reviewer, and the table of contents. The administrative information folder contains application form, fee forms, certification and attestation forms, compliance and site information, authorization for sharing information and international information. The product information folder contains certified product information document.
This is a continuation of the previous slide.
This screen shows the organization of Module 3 abbreviated M3 for excipient master files. It shows the following subfolders of M3. Table of contents of Module 3 unless the submission is in ECTD format. Body of data, drug product, control of excipients, excipient X, control of excipients, excipient Y, control of excipients, excipient Z, specifications, analytical procedures, validation of analytical procedures, justification of specifications, excipients of human or animal origin and novel excipients. Type 2 Container Closure Systems Master Files and Type 3 Excipient Master Files. For Type 2 Container Closure Systems Master Files and Type 3 Excipient Master Files, multiple components may be included in a single master file provided that the components are similar. A limit of 50 components will be enforced per master file. Additional components should be filed in a new master file. A master file filed in support of a clinical trial application may include a quality overall summary in lieu of the applicant and the restricted parts. DMF Type 4 Dosage Form Master Files. It is for dosage forms and drug product intermediates. This screenshot from a Health Canada guidance document titled Guidance Document Preparation of Regulatory Activities in the Non-ECTD Electronic Only format shows protected applicants part and restricted part of Type 4 Master File for drug product. The following files are provided in the restricted part of the DMF and not in the applicant's part. These are cover letter, life cycle management table, copy of Health Canada issued correspondence, Health Canada solicited information and general note to reviewer.
This is a continuation of the previous slide. Application forms, fee forms, certification and attestation forms. Establishment licensing, good manufacturing practices, authorization for sharing information, internal information, certified product information document. Continuation from previous slide.
In both applicant's part and restricted part of the master files are quality overall summary, table of contents for paper submission, description of composition of drug product, pharmaceutical development, components of drug product, manufacturers, manufacture, description of manufacturing process and process control, controls of critical steps and intermediates and control of excipients. In the restricted part of the DMF we have drug product development, container closure system, microbiological attributes, compatibility, process validation and/or evaluation, specifications, analytical procedures, validation of analytical procedures, justification of specifications, excipients of human or animal origin, and novel excipients.
Continuation from previous slide.
This screenshot shows that the following sections occur only in the applicant's part of the master files, namely, specifications, analytical procedures, validation of analytical procedures, batch analysis, reference standards or materials, container closure system, stability summary and conclusions, post-approval stability protocol and stability commitment and stability data. Characterization of impurities and justification of specifications occur in both applicant's part and restricted part. On the other hand, facilities and equipment, adventitious agent safety evaluation, excipients, Executed production documents and master production documents occur only in the restricted part of the master file. Confidentiality of information in DMF. Within Health Canada, master files are kept confidential and only officials of Health Canada have permission to access these records. Data and other scientific or technical information are assessed and filed in strict confidence. In legal terms, this information belongs to the suppliers that generate it and has traditionally been protected by intellectual property law. Information that qualifies as third-party commercial, scientific or technical information is protected. Drug master files and electronic common technical document. As of January 1, 2016, Health Canada will no longer accept paper copies of master files. Master files must follow the filing and formatting requirements. See Notice, Re. Preparation of Drug Master File (DMF) in no-net electronic-only format. All documents should be provided in portable document format (PDF) or Microsoft Word. Documents may also be provided in Microsoft Excel where applicable. If there is information that a manufacturer of packaging material does not wish to share with the applicant or sponsor, because it is considered proprietary, then it may be placed in a Type 3 DMF and incorporated into the application by a letter from the manufacturer to the applicant which authorizes reference to the DMF. DMF is not approved or disapproved in Canada. A DMF is never approved or disapproved in both USA and Canada. Technical contents of a DMF are reviewed only in connection with a filed product licensing application or a clinical trial application. Registration of master files requirements. It is recommended that master files are filed 2 to 12 months prior to the filing of a drug submission or clinical trial application, making reference to those master files. All master files are expected to include at least one letter of access when filed. Official language of correspondence and drug master files and filing address. The master file can be filed in either of Canada's official languages, English or French. Where to send master files registrations. A master file should be filed to the master file administration unit's forwarding address. Health Canada, Health Products and Food Branch. Therapeutic Products Directorate. Master File Administration Unit. Address Locator 0201D. 101 Promenade Tunney's Pasture Driveway. Ottawa, Ontario, K1A0K9. Canada. Assessment of master files. Master files are always assessed in the context of a drug submission or clinical trial application, and therefore, decisions rendered on the quality-related data in a master file pertain to the drug seeking market authorization or clinical trial authorization. Drug master files holder obligations. Any change or addition, including a change in authorization related to specific customers, should be submitted in duplicate and adequately cross-referenced to previous submissions. Notice required for changes to a drug master file. A holder must notify each affected applicant or sponsor who has referenced its drug master files of any pertinent change in the drug master files. Notice should be provided well before making the change in order to permit the sponsor or applicant to supplement or amend any affected applications as needed. Persons authorized to incorporate information in DMF. A DMF is required to contain a complete list of persons authorized to incorporate information in the DMF by reference. The holder should update the list in the annual update. The updated list should contain the holder's name, DMF number, and the date of the update. The update should identify by name or code the information that each person is authorized to incorporate and give the location of that information by date, volume, and page number. Annual updates not required. Updates to the master file are not required on a timed basis, but are required based on the circumstances. Clinical trial applications. A single electronic copy of the update should be filed with a signed cover letter. The cover letter should clearly indicate master file number, dossier ID/Health Canada file number, type of master file 1, 2, 3 or 4. Master file updates and additional administrative documents. When filing an update to a master file for an additional formulation or component, a limit of 50 components or formulations per master file will be enforced. Additional components or formulations should be filed in a new master file. The master file holder should file a current index listing all components or formulations when filing the update for the master file. A side-by-side comparison of the affected sections of the master file listing the level of the change and the impact of that change. An up-to-date list of all applicants authorized to access the master file. A revised master file application form. Master file fee form and fees. Master file updates for drug submissions. Updates to master files should be filed when the applicant for an associated submission is required to submit a Level 1 supplement for a major quality change or a Level 2 notifiable changes in the case of biologics. At the time of filing, the update should also include any changes made in the interim period which are considered Level 3 annual notifications in the post-notice of compliance changes quality guidance document. This does not exempt applicants from reporting Level 3 changes in their annual report to Health Canada. All changes to an master file should be accompanied with a side-by-side table listing the changes in comparison to the previous master file. Each change should be clearly noted as being a change that falls either under Level 1, 2, 3 or IV as described by the post-notice of compliance changes quality guidance document. The master file update should be filed and an acknowledgement letter received in before Health Canada receives the applicant's submission for the post-notice of compliance change such as supplement, notifiable change. Master file holders should update master files if the previously filed information is not current. The master file holder should notify each clinical trial sponsor that has been granted access to the master file of the changes so that sponsors can update their records and file either a clinical trial application amendment or a clinical trial application notification to Health Canada. The acknowledgement letter for the updated master file should be received before the filing the clinical trial application amendment or clinical trial application notification by clinical trial sponsors. Appointment of a master file agent. When the master file holder is not based in North America, it is recommended that a North American master file agent be used in order to expedite communications. When an agent is appointed, they are responsible for all correspondence on the master file, including but not limited to the following: issuing letters of access, handling deficiencies, handling the payment of fees, handling associated correspondence and filing updates and administrative changes. Transfer of ownership. For a transfer in ownership and a company name change of master file, the original master file holder should advise Health Canada in writing if ownership or the name of the master file has changed due to the following reasons: buyout, merger, corporate restructuring, company name change, any other reason for a transfer of ownership. All transfers of ownership should include confirmation from both the current master file holder and the new master file holder. It is not acceptable for Health Canada to receive notice of the transaction from only the new master file holder.
In this section I will describe how proprietary information is created in European Union to allow a party other than the owner to reference material. I will describe the common abbreviations in the use of active substance master files. I will also describe active substance master files in the approval of certificate of suitability of the pharmacopoeia monograph, letters of access. Abbreviations. ASM represents active substance manufacturer. ASMF represents Active Substance Master File. CEP represents Certificate of Suitability of the Pharmacopoeia Monograph. EDMF represents European Drugs Master Files. EDQM represents European Directorate for the Quality of Medicines. EMEA represents European Medicines Agency. LO represents Letter of Access. MO represents Marketing Authorization Application. M represents Marketing Authorization. Objective of Active Substance Master File. The main objective of the European Drugs Master Files is to support regulatory requirements of a medicinal product to prove its quality, safety and efficacy. This helps to obtain a marketing authorization. Two types of information to regulatory agencies about drug substance. These are 1. Certification of suitability to the monographs of the European Pharmacopoeia. 2. Active Substance Master File. Documenting the quality of the drug substance. There are 4 ways in Europe you can document the quality of a drug substance you use to manufacture a drug product and obtain its marketing authorization. These are full description of the manufacturing based on CTD Module 3 Quality of Drug Substance. Certificate of Suitability of the Pharmacopoeia Monograph. European Active Substance Master File. Other relevant evidence of suitability of the Pharmacopoeia Monograph. Obtaining Certificate of Suitability. Certificate of Suitability to the monographs of the European Pharmacopoeia is applicable to pharmacopoeial substances only, active substance or excipient. The manufacturer of a substance will provide proof that the quality of the substance is suitably controlled by the relevant monographs of the European Pharmacopoeia by means of a Certificate of Suitability granted by the Certification Secretariat of the European Directorate for the Quality of Medicines. To apply for a certificate, a manufacturer will submit a detailed dossier which may contain confidential data. What Certificate of Suitability certifies? The Certificate of Suitability certifies that by applying the relevant monographs of the European Pharmacopoeia, it is possible to check whether or not the quality of the substance is suitable for use in medicinal products. This procedure is intended to be used for substances for which a monograph has been adopted by the European Pharmacopoeia Commission. What the Certificate of Suitability of the Pharmacopoeia Monograph procedure involves. The procedure for the certification of suitability will consist of the following steps: submission of the dossier, acknowledgement of receipt, designation of assessors, assessment, notification of the decision, follow-up to certification of suitability. The Active Substance Master File contains valuable business information which should be kept confidential and submitted to the regulatory agency. It is divided into 2 parts. An applicant's part and an active substance manufacturer restricted part. Applicant's part is the open part of an active substance master file. This part is supplied by the active substance manufacturer. The applicant's part is called open part. It must contain sufficient information for evaluation of the suitability of the active substance specification to control the quality of the substance. The information provided includes a brief outline of the manufacturing method, information on potential impurities originating from the manufacturing method, from the isolation procedure, natural products, or from degradation and, where applicable, information on the toxicity of specific impurities. This information may be included in Module 3 of the application in Section 3.2. S. Active Substance Manufacturer Restricted Part. Closed part of Active Substance Master Files. This part includes detailed information on the individual steps of the manufacturing method such as reaction conditions, temperature, validation and evaluation of data for certain critical steps of the manufacturing method, among others, and on quality control during manufacture may contain valuable know-how. This information may be supplied to the regulatory agencies. The format should be the same as that of Module 3.2. S of the CTD. Letter of Access. The Active Substance Master File holder should give permission to the competent authorities or European Medicines Agency to assess the data in the Active Substance Master File in relation to a specific market authorization application in the form of a letter of access.
We have come to the end of the lesson by Royal Canadian College of Distance Education. Thank you for listening.
See you in the next lesson.